Park in Ellesmere Port is the venue for our next instalment of karting action, featuring highlights of the races from the annual GROSVENOR Cup event. The juniors kick off our coverage with the biggest grid of the day. My colleague Jake Sanson is back from Norway to join me in the commentary box, and we'll kick off with the grid positions for Heat 1 in juniors. Jake, good to be back on home turf, no doubt, once more at one of our favourite circuits.
Yeah, the weather hasn't been much different compared to Norway to Great Britain, though. It's pretty much exactly the same conditions. Jay Leviton and Kasari Wojciech on the front row of the grid for this one. Drew Preisner and Adam Catling on the second. George Daniels and Jake Anders. Joe Murphy lines up beside Callum Moir. And then we have Ilias Mufakir alongside Owen Rathbone to round out the top 10. 11th on the starting grid for this one is Dylan Fitzhenry beside Jack McGillicuddy. Then Charlie Eibel from Joshua Burton. Jasper Oakes is in 15th position alongside Ben Wilson. And rounding out the field, we have Aaron Rowland and the driver who missed out on qualifying, Serena McPherson. So hopefully it's going to be a little bit more clear-cut going into the races themselves. And here is Leviton and Wojciech leading the field around in the two tram lines, obviously having to go either side of the cones, and we're under starters' orders in the first heat of the GROSVENOR Cup in Junior Rotax. Big switch from Wojciech, trying to hang in around the outside, and there's contact further back. It's gone terribly wrong for Fitzhenry and Joshua Burton, both of them pirouetting around then at the first corner. Just the conflagration getting a little bit too tight. Oh, how about that from Wojciech? What a brilliant switcheroo move into the hairpin to take the lead of the race, considering that he started on the outside of the front row of the grid as well. Just staying in second position on the first lap would have been a bit of a mission. So that's very well handled then from Wojciech to get into the lead. He has done a fantastic job there. The young man who's based in Blackpool, he hasn't had that much of a trek to get here. Certainly a bit of a run down the motorway, but very good. Oh, here's the move from Preisner. Preisner's going to have a look. Gets through on Leviton, and Leviton is now caught out as a result. So watch out for Adam Catling. Catling is looking for a move. He's up into fourth position, trying to get level now with Leviton. This is going to be tricky. Can he fight for the move into third position? He's going to have a bit of pressure as well from George Daniels. It really is game on in Junior Rotax.
Adam Catling using the one plate. That denotes him as the champion in this class from last year. Adam Catling, who dominated last year to win the championship. Kasari Wojciech last time out, Jake, back in March. You weren't with me then, but he had two terrific heats and then crashed out. It all went wrong in the final when it went up into the hairpin here. Had a poor start, went round the outside of two of the carts, three abreast as he came out of the turn, got clipped, turned him round. That was his day over. So let's hope that doesn't happen to him today. He's got a comfortable lead here though. Again, as I say, last time out, won the heats comfortably, and then it all went pear-shaped for him in the final. Let's hope that's not the case today.
Certainly a much better scenario for him now, leading from Drew Preisner, who is there in second position. Having a very tough race of it. Look at the way they get the back end of the carts out to turn in through the first corner, and they actually use a tiny bit of the pit lane exit in order to get a little bit of purchase. It's the fastest way through. Right, dive up the inside for fifth position. That is Murphy going wheel to wheel then with George Daniels. He can't quite finish off the move, and the man from West Kirby on the Wirral is managing to finish that move off tidily to hold his position. So very nicely done. Not bad considering he is a young lad from West Kirby. That part of the Merseyside, that part of the Wirral is a very passionate one when it comes to their sports. You've got a lot of young lads there who are obviously playing for the clubs in football in Kirby and for Zackerley and all those sort of areas of the Wirral, and it's great to see that there's a little bit of a fast peddler with a decent right foot. Up the inside again though. Murphy tries again. No, you don't. Good defence again from Daniels.
Yeah, Daniels and Murphy, two very quick drivers around this track, but not in the positions they would like at the moment. They'll be trying to get certainly move forward. The heats, of course, are about scoring points to give yourself the best grid position chance for the final. Where you finish heat one, that's where you start heat two. So the further up you can get, the better your starting position for heat two, and the better ultimately position for the final. This is the battle for fourth, and the one kart there leading this battle is Adam Catling.
Jake Anders has got a bird's eye view of this battle as well. He's right close to it. Murphy tries again on Daniels. Daniels is going to get out wide and on the grass, and that's enough for Murphy to get through then into P5. Jake Anders has got to keep his wits about him because he might just be able to get the kart into the top six here. Meanwhile, further up, Preisner and Leviton are having a sensational ding-dong of a fight for second place now. Leviton's just banged in the fastest lap of the race. Taken away again from Wojciech. Oh, they bang wheels, and somehow Leviton manages to get through on Preisner. You cannot get closer than that for contact without both karts ending up in the drink.
Yeah, without both of them going off. I don't know how they both didn't go off there. Incredible. That was a big contact. But fortunately, both still running. It's that battle for fourth. It's raging.
Daniels and Murphy. Murphy is the one that loses out this time as Jake Anders does pick up the pieces to get into sixth position. I told him that he needed to be there and alert, ready to pick something up, and he was absolutely on it. Not only is he called Jake, but he's got the best racing number on the planet as well. Number 53. He is a man after my own heart. Absolutely perfect. So chasing after George Daniels. Closing in on Adam Catling as well. Properly sliding into these braking zones. You really know that these guys are leaving nothing to chance on setup. Meanwhile, that's Callum Moir diving in on the inside of Owen Rathbone, with Charlie Eibel right in the mix there as well. Even Jack McGillicuddy is not too far away from that.
You say Moir, I say Moya. Between us, we'll get it right. And if we're getting it wrong, make sure you guys come and tell us next time you see us.
Absolutely. So the great battle continues on here for fourth place. Catling with a tiny bit of breathing space over Daniel. Oh, Murphy's gone off. Murphy's gone wide at turn 2. Something's gone very wrong indeed there for Joe Murphy. And he puts his head behind the steering wheel. I think he knows that's driver error.
Well, it is driver error. I thought he had a problem with the kart there, Jake, when he went off. He just went straight off, all his own work, no contact. I thought there was a problem with the kart, but he's still running, so clearly there wasn't. And that definitely was driver error for one of the quickest drivers in this field, let's be honest.
Yeah, very unfortunate as we go into the last lap. That's put Joe Murphy down behind Ilyas Mufakir, behind Ben Wilson, but he remains in the top 10, just all the way down to 9th place. But this has been a tour de force for Kasauri Wojciech. This is such a brilliant drive from the young man from Blackpool. He really has rewritten the form book in this first heat. What else is he going to give us over the course of the rest of the weekend?
Well, it's just like it was back in March, Jake. He was comfortable in the first 2 heats then. He's comfortable here in the first heat. As I said before, it all went pear-shaped for him in the final that day, but hopefully he won't repeat the same feat this time.
Well, a very tricky race then for the opponents, but for Kasauri Wojciech, it's pretty much dominance ahead of Jay Leverton and Drew Priesner. But there's plenty more action to come from Junior Rotax, I'm sure. So Kasauri Wojciech taking the victory in front of Jay Leverton and Drew Priesner, then Adam Catling just ahead of George Daniels and Jake Anders. Ben Wilson climbing 9 places to move up into 7th place. Joe Murphy just hanging on to the top 10. He managed to get back ahead of Ilyas Mufakir, and Callum Moir 10th position after a very interesting opening race. Rotax 177 here at Hooton Park. Tommy Austin and Martin Ingham on the front row of the starting grid. Tom Owens and Aaron Knight on the second. Ryan Walker and Harrison Jones on row 3 from Roger Moore. No, not that Roger Moore. Andy Holloway in 8th position. Sam Booth and David Bate round out the field. It's a 10-kart field in Rotax 177. It's going to be a fascinating charge forward. What can Martin Ingham do? We're on board with Aaron Knight as Tommy Austin leads them down to the first corner. Austin should have the advantage into turn 1, but as we work our way through, it's a little bit greasy off the start, and around the outside, Martin Ingham has got the lead. That is incredible. Tommy Austin down to second. We're on board with Knight, and that's a charge forward from Harrison Jones, followed in behind Roger Moore. Big dive as well from Sam Booth. So not the best to start, and there's David Bate as well. What a terrible start for Aaron Knight.
Disastrous start for Aaron Knight. He's brought us some great onboard footage. Martin Ingham, the man from Wigan it is that leads it. We should have 12 drivers in this, Jake, but after the qualifying, 2 of them were disqualified for basically being underweight. I've never heard of that before, but they were underweight. You've got to be a certain weight, suit, boots and helmet, as Aaron Knight makes up a place.
Lovely.
You've got to be a certain weight, and they need to, obviously they were too skinny. You've got to eat your cream buns if you want to be in this class. Something you know about a lot, Jake. You know about that.
I could teach them everything they know. Come to me. I've got plenty of tools to help you out. Right, into third position has gone Ryan Walker, making the move on the inside of Tom Owens on the hairpin. As we battle away for the lead, Tommy Austin is not happy. Sat behind Martin Ingham, who got the lead initially, but Tommy Austin feels like he's got a chance to fight back. On board with Aaron Knight, and that's Andy Holloway in front of us. Now we're going to have to try and make up yet another position to dive back through on the inside, and we're doing so. Check out the squabble coming towards us. Ingham, Austin, Walker, Owens, Moore, Jones, who has the fastest lap of the race, by the way, trying to catch up to these guys.
Yeah, down in 6th place. He hasn't got track position, but he's the fastest man on the track. Tommy Austin in 2nd place there under the drone. He is an absolute track expert here. Tommy worked here for a long time, of course, and he's been dominant in this class several times. But Martin Ingham bringing it this weekend.
I'm going to have you, says Martin Ingham. No, you're not, says Tommy Austin. This is my back garden. Never mind, it feels like it. Through turn 2, here comes Ryan Walker. He is actually going to get them in a pincer movement if we're not careful, as Martin Ingham again holds the inside line, but it is too wide. Surely that's going to be enough for Tommy Austin to get alongside, but it's not the throttle application that Tommy Austin wanted. That's backed him up. These 4 karts are absolutely joined at the hip.
Martin Ingham there went into the hairpin, defending really narrow. I thought Austin was a shoo-in to get him on the switchback, but got alongside, but not enough to hold on. When he come down the inside here again, Ingham looking down in the middle of the track.
Oh, too wide.
Yeah, he's in the middle of the track. He's always going to run wide there. And Tommy Austin just went outside, inside for the switchback. Perfect move by Tommy.
Back on board with Knight, and that's Bate running wide. That could be the move. Looks pretty good to me. Tommy Austin wants to stretch away now on home turf. He does not want Martin Ingham to even get a sniff of a look in now. 4th position is getting pretty tight. Tom Owens and Harrison Jones having a great battle. Now that Jones has got through past Roger Moore, it looks like the James Bond namesake is not quite able to match up with the pace. Sam Booth is actually giving him a little bit of pressure. They go through the S's, and look how much curb Ryan Walker is attacking to try and get on terms with Ingham. He's got a great run off the turn. Ingham's got to give him a little bit of space, but he chops across. He's going to go 2 defensive. Oh, spin! It's all gone wrong for Ryan Walker. That would have been the perfect switcheroo, but he just got 1 wheel on the exit grass, and that was enough to pitch him around.
Aaron Knight goes through turn 1, and you saw Walker there sitting on the outside. It all went wrong, but it could have all been so right. He just needed to do what Tommy Austin did previously, go wide in and narrow out, because again, Martin Ingham was in the middle of the track. He was going to run wide on the exit. He did, but unfortunately for Walker, too wide, too late on the brakes. I think he put a couple of wheels on the grass, and that was him done.
I mean, I'm amazed that there was that level of commitment and focus in Heat 1 to make that kind of daring a move. That's the kind of overtaking bid that you would reserve really for the final. Here comes the move again from Aaron Knight. This time he lines up Sam Booth, and he's up into P6, so it's a great recovery from Aaron Knight. Whatever it was about his setup, it's clearly suited to the end of the race, not the beginning.
Yeah, Sam Booth led the championship early on in 2023, and then he had a couple of rounds away, so put himself out of contention, but he is a race winner here at Houghton Park, Sam Booth, so we know he's got some pace.
This is Ryan Walker recovering. Oh, what on earth happened there? That's Andy Holloway.
That's got to be a mechanic. That's got to be some sort of broken. Oh, I don't know.
Something's definitely gone, because he turned through the chicane and the car just kept going. It kept steering to the left.
That looked like it was some sort of track rod end brake or something like that. It just looked like he lost his steering.
Well, that is not Andy Holloway driving, is it, that's caused that one?
No,
something definitely bad has gone off there on the kart.
Last lap as they come through the line, Tommy Austin with a comfortable lead, Ingham 2nd, Tom Owens 3rd, Harrison Jones there in 4th place, and here comes Roger Moore going through in 5th, but yeah, that was a strange incident.
A bizarre race of attrition. We've seen obviously Ryan Walker drop back, and now we've seen Andy Holloway essentially just continue steering into the tyre barriers. I've never seen an incident like that here at Houghton Park. Very bizarre. But Tommy Austin, who obviously knows this place like the back of his hand, absolutely perfect out in front. No issues for him to get the job done once he got ahead of Martin Ingham. It was never out of doubt. Ingham comes through in 2nd place. Tom Owens in a very solid P3 ahead of Harrison Jones, and that is just for starters. This is only Heat 1 of the Senior Rotax 177, of course. Aaron Knight, good fight back to P6 after a difficult start. Sam Booth, Ryan Walker and David Bate all having their moments. Ryan Walker gesturing back to the pits as Andy Holloway assesses the damage and tries to figure out what on earth happened. Very bizarre incident. I've honestly never seen an accident like that in karting.
What, just as well the tyres were in front of the marshal post, because he could have gone straight into the marshal post.
So a victory then for Tommy Austin. He gets the win in front of Martin Ingham, but there were all sorts of flotsam and jetsam around. Ryan Walker obviously having to recover after his earlier off, and we hope that Andy Holloway's kart he's going to be raceable for a little bit later on in the day. Very big drama here so far, though. Into the battle for senior Rotax we go then. Jack Hayes-Roberts in pole position from James Ollier. Robbie Rathbone and Jack Pearson on the second. Adam Cerner and Zach Boker. Then Max Lorna-Bennick, James Eyre, Jake Stavley, Jacob Stott and Callum Stevens. Could be a fascinating battle as we get ourselves under starters orders, and we are charging down to the first corner. What can Jack Hayes-Roberts do as they go through turn one? The very simple answer is hang on to it, but there's contact as Max Lorna-Bennick has to somehow save it. How did he save that round the outside? The kart was up in the air for a short period. Not only did he save it, but he actually made an overtaking move around the outside of turn two. That is absolutely extraordinary.
The track specialist here, well, two of them in fact now, in first and second. Jack Hayes-Roberts leading. He's won multiple times in this class, as indeed has a man in second place. That's Robbie Rathbone, I think he was last year's champion, and indeed James Ollier, the junior champion at this track previously. That is James Ollier pictured, a man from Cheshire. Looks slightly different these days because he's a year older than that picture suggests.
He is very close for the top three out front. Everybody else is just left to pick away amongst the scraps. Jack Pearson, Adam Cerner, Max Lorna-Bennick, who's had the proper rodeo right off the start. Still can't get over how he was able to not only save it, but actually move his way into P6 as a result of it. You should try that every time. Right, here are the leaders, and it looks like James Ollier is going to have a crack at Robbie Rathbone before Rathbone is able to catch back up to Hayes-Roberts. Side by side for P6. That's going to be James Eyre on the inside, and I think he managed to finish that one off. Certainly he'll have pressure from Boker and Stavley as well.
Ollier up the inside for second. Ollier takes second.
That's really nicely handled, and Rathbone actually got a wheel on the grass as well because there wasn't enough room for two karts to run side by side. So Rathbone is the one that comes off worst there. Ollier, the fastest man on the track after that previous lap. Oh, a big mistake from, I think, Adam Cerner, as James Eyre and Max Lorna-Bennick now get a chance to close up on them. So it is a very tricky circuit, this, to get right. Pearson on his own in fourth position. Look at the dance for fifth position as they come through. Cerner, up the inside comes Lorna-Bennick, and Boker's going to get there as well. That's at the expense of James Eyre, down from 6 to 8. I'll tell you what, this is turning into one of the best races I've seen for a while at Hooton Park, and we had a bit of a classic earlier on in the day, don't forget, from Rotax 177. So good to see senior Rotax really showcasing, oh well, anything Rotax 177 can do, we can do better.
Great battle here, 6 of them in this battle as they go underneath the drone. It's headed by Adam Cerner. James Eyre down to 8, as you said, Jake. That's Lorna-Bennick, Bowker, Eyre, and then in behind is Jake Stavley.
So this is a really tough battle for them all as they come through turn one, then out through the right at turn two, down the long straight that takes them to the Hooton hairpin. What's Zach Boker going to do? He looked like he was going to try and make the bid there on Lorna-Bennick, and he does on the exit. So he's going to make the move on the exit of the turn. Can he hold it round the outside? Beautiful from Boker. That was pure confidence and discipline. That is a really difficult manoeuvre to finish off. It's one thing to get the move started on the inside, but to then hold it and keep the kart fluid round the outside, that takes some stones, I tell you.
I think when DJI developed drones, I think that's the exact shot they were thinking drones were made for. Drones around kart circuits, just perfect. Just gives you this great overall view of the action, doesn't it? Especially when you get a shot like that. When they're coming around, the drone's following around the corner, somebody goes up the inside and you just catch all of it.
Look, grandson, this is what I did when I was battling for position at Hooton Park. That's what Zach Boker's going to be saying in years to come.
Battle for the lead, go through the line, nothing to choose between them. Hayes-Roberts and Ollier. These are all campaigners. Ollier mainly in the juniors, he stepped up to seniors this year. Up the inside and takes the lead, James Ollier, but will he hold on to it? No!
Just runs a bit too deep. It's so easy, and he even puts his head back as if to say, I can't believe I did that. Rookie mistake is what he'll be telling himself in the helmet. Dive through on the inside, but he ran wide on the exit. You could see the frustration from James Ollier. I'm better than that. I can do better than this.
Well, that's what happens though when you go narrow for the overtake. You've basically got to try and brake and keep the person on the outside of you. If you go in too deep, that allows them to get you on the switchback. And of course, Jack Hayes-Roberts knows exactly how to get people back on the switchback, as does Ollier himself, of course.
But look at him though, he's straight back on it. It's within one lap, he's already gained the time that he lost to him. So this is definitely going to go the distance between these two. Jack Hayes-Roberts and James Ollier, this is their playground, this is their turf, and both drivers know what they need to do to get the upper hand on their opponent, but they're going to have to work increasingly hard to get there. Once again, James Ollier pushing hard on the Haase chassis, really stretching the limit of what that kart is going to be able to do in four-wheel drift mode through the first couple of corners. Still trying to find that moment on Jack Hayes-Roberts, and of course the frustration was real for James Ollier because he knows that could be the one chance that he's realistically going to get.
Robbie Rathbone looks to me, Jake, like he's slowed down and he's looking after his tyres for later in the day. That's what it looks like to me. I might be wrong, but makes sense.
You've got a point.
lot of sense.
You know, if you can consolidate third position, because this isn't a kind of championship
where
final.
There are no 22 Carat Gold trophies that Bob Wilson has invested in for this weekend. 22 Carat Gold worth £14,000 each, these trophies. And I know, I've seen them. They're definitely gold.
And look, this isn't like the British Championships where you can rock up with all the decent equipment with 17 sets of fresh tyres. The set of tyres you've got, that's all you've got. You've got to make them last the distance.
Yeah, you do. If he's in third place there, if he's comfortably in third, then don't destroy your tyres in this heat. Save them for later on in the day. Checkered flag. And it is Jack Hayes-Roberts that takes the win from Ollier with Rathbone. There you go, clear in third place, looking over his shoulder.
But we are just getting started in the rivalry between Hayes-Roberts and Ollier. Ollier felt that there was a little bit more to do. He was frustrated with himself that he lost out there in second position. Robbie Rathbone third and comfortable. Jack Pearson fourth ahead of Adam Cerner, Zach Boker, Max Norder-Bennick after his rodeo ride ahead of James Eyre, Jack Staveley, and then Jacob Stott rounding out the top 10. Just getting interesting in Senior Rotax. One heat down and plenty of suspense and action still to come. Time to see what happens in the second heat of Junior Rotax. Kasari Wojciech and Jay Leverton on the front row of the starting grid. Drew Priesner and Adam Catling in fourth. George Daniels and Jake Anders in sixth position on the grid. Then Ben Wilson and Joe Murphy. Ilias Mufakir and Callum Moir round out the top 10. Then Charlie Eibel and Jack McGillicuddy. Owen Rathbone, Dylan Fitzhenry, Aaron Rowland, Serena McPherson, Jasper Oakes. And then the man who spun off in the first lap of the last race, Joshua Burton, hoping for a comeback bid. Here we go, charge into the first corner, and there's already a big squabble in the front end of the field as everybody tries to work their way through. This time it's clean in Junior Rotax in turn one. Is it in turn two? Well, there's a bit of a shuffle of a few of the decks, but certainly up front for Wojciech, it's pretty strong with Leverton there in second place. Everybody just trying to mix it through the first few corners, and Adam Catling has joined the battle in the top three. So this is now a quartet fighting for position, and there's proper anger further back. I saw a couple of drivers with their hands in the air. It's getting brutal.
Joe Murphy went through the line in 12th place. Joe Murphy is a serious front runner in this class. He'll be hoping to get himself at least into 4th or 5th place if he can. That's Wojciech, the man from Blackpool, out front and sets the fastest lap, obviously. A couple of tenths quicker than Leverton in second, Priesner in third, Adam Catling's still there in fourth. We know Catling's got the pace. He's not got that one plate on his kart for nothing. He's an expert round here.
Fair play to Ben Wilson. He's worked his way forward to 5th position. And then we've got Ilias Mufakir. That's an amazing start for him from P9 to make his way through to 6th position. That's a big charge for one lap to get through on 3 positions on this circuit, don't forget, because it's narrow, it's twisty, it's not very easy to make overtakes on the opening lap. So that's a big launch forward from Mufakir, and very deserved indeed. He's lost out in the second lap though, because Anders has come through, so too has George Daniels.
And just keeping an eye there on Joe Murphy. He went through the line in 12th at the start, was 10th last time round, 9th this time. So he's made up 3 places over the position he went through the line initially in. So he's up to 9th, but he'll hope to get up to at least the top 6. He wants to give himself a reasonable chance of a reasonable grid position for the final, give him a chance of winning the GROSVENOR Cup, of course.
Now we're getting into the balancing act between looking after tyres and deciding to go for a race win for Jay Leverton. What do you do here, sat behind Kasari Wojciech? Because it could be very easy to just go for the move, but you've also got to think long term. And look, it's gone down, it's gone off on the grass! Well, that takes the decision out of it. Jay Leverton on the grass, he will feel furious at that. He'll feel like he was squeezed with not enough road to play with.
No.
Very tricky.
No, definitely wasn't squeezed, and nothing Kasari Vajcerek did wrong there. We could have another look at it, I guess. I'm not sure we're going to get another look at it, but he was on the outside of Kasari Vajcerek.
That's
I was
where
looking
the
at
argument
Vajcerek's
comes.
helmet. He was looking through the corner. He wasn't looking left. Didn't know he was there.
Yep.
He was on his rear tyre. His front tyre, Leviton's front tyre, was on Vajcerek's rear tyre, and Vajcerek hit the brakes, locked up, a little bit of a nudge, knocked him off. Unfortunately, that is a classic racing incident, and that, I'm sure, will be how the officials, if they've noted it, will view that incident. It's just unfortunate for the man that was second, Leviton. He's gone through the line in 11th place last time. He'll certainly make up some places for there where you know he's got the pace, but that's just an unfortunate incident for him.
Yeah.
This is a battle for the lead now, though.
It's the difference between an angry racing driver and the incident that's actually played out, isn't it? You always have a different opinion when the red mist is down. Jake Anders having a look at Ben Wilson for 4th position. Right in the tow behind him is George Daniels. But it is interesting how Kasari Vajcerek had a dominant run in Heat 1. Had a bit of pressure there initially from Jay Leviton, and now he's got all the pressure in the world from Drew Priesner. Priesner's absolutely audacious all over him, trying to find a way through. Interesting how Adam Catling has actually been a bit more calculated. He's dialed back, look. He's there in 3rd position still, but he's dropped well off the pace of these guys.
Murphy with the fastest lap this time, Jake. Keeping an eye on Joe Murphy. We know he's quick and can basically win races here at
P7
Oak Park.
now.
He's in P7, but he's the fastest man on the track. That shows you the pace he's got. Unfortunately, he had that incident in the first heat.
Priesner's really wrestling to get past Vajcerek, and now he's really having his own issues there. He kind of squeezed to get alongside Vajcerek, but Vajcerek was quite determined. Look, I've got the lead of this race. I've got the line. You're basically nudging to get past me at a very tricky corner. I don't stand for that, and you're not going to get away with that either. So this is getting pretty ruthless now. Look, Vajcerek's actually going defensive to keep Priesner back.
Catling comfortable in 3rd place.
There goes Murphy.
4, 5, 6, 7. Murphy up the inside for a spot.
Another strong move then from Joe Murphy. That puts him into P6, ahead of George Daniels, just in behind Jake Anders. Look at the quartet in this train. The 3rd one in the line now is Joe Murphy. He's up to P6, so made up another place. Back to the leaders, Kasari Vajcerek and Drew Priesner. Very close indeed up to the first corner. Priesner is going to have another shot at Vajcerek if he can get an opportunity. Out of turn 2, puts a lot of speed into it, but that's got him a little bit loose. Meanwhile, the battle's still raging for 4th as Wilson and Anders are nose to tail for 4th and 5th. Is that going to be a gap opening up for Murphy? It is, to get past both of them. Surely he can't finish that off around the outside. He's committing, still there, 2 wheels in the air, and somehow Murphy emerges in front of them. How did he do that?
What a brilliant move by Joe Murphy. Managed to hold on to it, got a bit of a nudge on the outside. We're into the last lap, but that is brilliant.
That's
Murphy up
stunning.
to 4th. Brilliant.
Absolutely stunning. I have never seen a move at Hooton Park with that much audacity, that much commitment, and that much flair actually work. That is incredible from Murphy. Last lap, he's not going to get the time to go after Catling, but what a race he's had.
We talked about the drone earlier and the sort of action it delivers. That was the perfect view of that whole incident from the drone,
Stunning.
from above.
Absolutely stunning. Kasari Vajcerek picks up another victory, but it certainly wasn't as clear-cut as the previous heat. Priesner right the way there to 2nd place. Catling in 3rd. Joe Murphy, I tell you what, he needs a Mjolnir hammer. He is absolutely worthy of the charge through the field. 4th position for Joe Murphy, the star of the race. George Daniels in P5 ahead of Jake Anders, Ben Wilson, Ilyas Mufakir, an enraged Jay Leviton. But when he sees it back, he may have a different view from the one he currently has. Charlie Eibel in P10. Well, tough stuff in Junior Rotax. It's building to a crescendo. Ding ding, it's round 2 for the Rotax 177 class. Tommy Austin and Tom Owens on the front row of the grid. Martin Ingham in 3rd, from Roger Moore in P4, then Harrison Jones and Aaron Knight, Ryan Walker, Sam Booth, Andy Holloway, whose kart is now repaired, and David Bate in P10. Let's go racing. Back on board with Aaron Knight. In the middle of the field, to our right, that is the fast-starting Roger Moore, but he's going to run wide, Knight. That's going to be enough to lose out to Walker and to Booth and to David Bate. Bang on the steering wheel, enraged Aaron Knight. He could lose out to Holloway as well. but Holloway doesn't quite finish off the move. Meanwhile, for second place, Ingham is getting himself back into P2. What a Warriors start from Martin Ingham, having been in a difficult position off the start. Now finds himself back in P2 ahead of Tom Owens and Harrison Jones. But can he do anything about Tommy Austin, who's already in the lead? And that's going to be a tough man to overtake.
Yeah, you don't want Austin to be 3 or 4 kart lengths ahead of you at any point in the race, never mind the opening tour. That's the end of the first lap. Austin and Ingham out front. Austin's clearly set the fastest lap. Owens, Jones, Moore and Walker are chasing. Sam Booth with a little bit of work to do.
Back on board with Knight. Mistake from Bates. That could be enough for Knight to get into 8th position. Has he finished off the move? Yes, he has. So that is the move then completed for Aaron Knight. His next target is going to be Sam Booth. So it's going to be an interesting one. I think actually Bates got a problem, you know. He suddenly slipped not just behind Knight, but quite a considerable way behind him, and that's Andy Holloway now ahead of him. So I wonder if there is a slow problem developing for David Bate. That's a bit of an issue for him as he drops to the back of the grid for the moment. Meanwhile, it's getting pretty heated for 4th position down, isn't it? Jones is now under some pressure. Roger Moore and Ryan Walker still having their back. Hang on a minute. That's the 75 of Tom Owens having been caught even more rapidly by Harrison Jones. There's Sam Booth, who was the leader in the championship in the early part of last year, so we know how good a competitor he can be. Aaron Knight is going to try and switcheroo off the turn, out of the hairpin to try and out-accelerate him, and that's beautifully done. He gets up a level and alongside. Can he finish the move into turn 1? Job done. Lovely.
Beautiful move there. Still Austin from Ingham. Owens 3rd, then Jones, Moore, Walker. Here comes Knight. Knight now through to 7th place. Made a bad start, Knight, who started in 6th, I think, on the grid, dropped to 9th, back up to 7th now.
Some drivers just have an Achilles heel, don't they? Sometimes it's qualifying, sometimes it's tyre management, sometimes it's racecraft.
David Bates out of the race,
David Bate is out of the race.
There he is.
I thought there was a problem with the kart developing, and it clearly was, because he's now got a mechanical issue, and David Bate parks it. That's a real shame.
Yeah, clearly that was a mechanical. You were right there calling that. Owens set his fastest lap on this last tour. Tommy Austin, meanwhile, out front sets the fastest lap of the race, 4 tenths quicker than a man in 2nd.
Ryan Walker hustling Roger Moore to try and get into 5th position. 2nd, 3rd, 4th is actually getting a little bit tighter together, isn't it? Because Owens and Jones are outlapping Ingham. So this is going to be interesting to see how they tighten up, because Ingham doesn't quite have the pace to match Austin, and look, he's falling into the clutches of Owens and Jones. This is where they can really hammer home the advantage. Meanwhile, Ryan Walker is determined to go for a bid on Roger Moore to get into 5th position. And then a little way back is Aaron Knight. It's taken him a little bit too much time, really. Oh, run wide from Ingham. This could be the chance for Tom Owens. He's gone to his right. Ingham's going to have to be able to protect the inside line there, though, so Owens is not going to get his chance yet.
Roger Moore and Ryan Walker in a tussle as well. Here they come through the S's one more time. This is Stanlow Bend, the final bend on the track. Tony Austin has got this one already, Jake. They're not closing that gap. Still Ingham from Owens, but anybody can win this battle.
Yeah, Ingham's in defensive mode already. He's lost a 2nd to Tommy Austin. On the last lap, he's trying to move to cover, but Tom Owens has got a good run off the turn, and somehow he stays in front. Well, there was a waved yellow there. So somebody else has had an issue, because obviously David Bate was already out of the race, unless that is for David Bates' kart. Maybe they were just moving it, but that just backed Owens out of the move there on Ingham. So now he'll have to go again.
Jones got that much closer. So this is that battle, Ingham, Owen and Jones, as they go through the line this time. Nothing to choose between them. And then a good battle in behind with Roger Moore and Ryan Walker tussling over 5th and 6th.
They're really leaning into each of these apexes, and on the grass and losing it big time, Harrison Jones. Oh, it's so easy to run that slightly bit wide. All it takes is one patch of rubber on the grass and you are in an absolute nightmare, and that's exactly what's thrown Harrison Jones out of the battle for the top 2.
Yeah, unfortunate. Again, 2 by 2 here. Ingham from Owens, and then we've got Jones and Moore now. Walker.
Oh, and who's that pulling off? That's Andy Holloway.
That's Andy Holloway, yeah.
More problems, perhaps, compared to, well, they repaired the kart, but I don't know whether they finished the job. Owens on the inside of Ingham, and he's just going to have enough on the inside of turn 2 to finish off the move. So that is Owens into P2, and here comes Roger Moore and Ryan Walker. They want a piece of Ingham as well now. Ingham is not going to let them have a sniff. but Ingham is there in third position, and suddenly he's got Roger Moore and Ryan Walker beating a back door down to try and get in. This is a really tricky battle now for Ingham. He's already lost out to Owens on momentum alone, but he doesn't want to lose any more time. The last lap begins. Is Ingham going to have enough here to stay third? It's going to be pretty tricky. There's Austin. Look at that. The length of the back straight ahead of Tom Owens. Here comes Moore. Moore's got to run. Ingham is placing his kart in the right place to keep him back. Through the double apex of the Hooton hairpin. Is this going to be a chance for Walker? He'll dive in and have a look for the fourth position move as Tommy Austin comes home in fine style up in front. He dominates and completely swamps the field with the victory up front. No issues for him. In second, it's going to be Tom Owens, but third is going to be Ingham. There's only one of the two pair drivers that were behind. What's happened to Ryan Walker? Walker has not come through. He's off on the final corner. So Ryan Walker has to limp home then behind Harrison Jones in P5 and Aaron Knight in P6. Bitter disappointment for Ryan Walker. Sam Booth is home in 8th. The retirements, Andy Holloway and David Bate, both mechanical related by the look of it. Hopefully they'll manage to get their karts sorted and ready for the final. Once again, it's Rotax 177 into Senior Rotax. They'll be wanting to outpace them and outclass them in terms of the show, as always. Jack Hayes-Robertson, James Ollier, then Robbie Rathbone and Jack Pearson, Adam Cerner, Zach Boker, Max Lorna-Bennick and James Eyre, Jake Staveley, Jacob Stott and Callum Stevens. Let's go to battle. They charge forward, and Heat 2 of the Senior Rotax in the GROSVENOR Cup gets us underway. Ryan Proctor is in the field this time. He failed to start the opening race, so at least he's on the grid this time. They charge down the back straight, and it's all good for the moment for Jack Hayes-Roberts, but that man behind him, Robbie Rathbone, is back in a second position, having started third, so it's exactly what we saw in race 1. James Ollier is down to third position, trying to make his way back into contention, as everybody else is just sorting it out.
Yeah, this is pretty much as they wrote it in the first race, wasn't it, Jake?
So far.
Was Rathbone second, Ollier third at that point, this point in the race, but Ollier soon made his way past.
Oh, he's done it already!
Again, and does it again.
That's incredible. It's literally a carbon copy of the move we saw in race 1 at exactly the same stage of the race as well. They are literally mirroring it until we get to this battle a little further back. This is getting a bit feistier a bit earlier. That's how you know it's a different race. This is Max Lorna-Bennick trying to shake off Zach Boker. He's just about managed it. At least he hasn't gone airborne this time. That's the other way you know it's a different race.
And again, Ollie has pulled away from Rathbone. Rathbone is super quick around this circuit, won numerous races here, but he's back down to third and losing the back of Ollier in second, and Ollier sets the fastest lap and gets that much closer to Jack Hayes-Roberts out front. Here it is.
I mean, watching the leading three go through turn 1, the way they kick the back end of the kart out, you'd be forgiven for thinking this is the Andros Trophy out in the French Alps. They are absolutely power sliding their way into the braking zone through turn 1, all three of them in synchronized unison. Right, here is that duel, and this is a chance now for Boker. He's got an opportunity. He has to back down a little bit on Max Lorna-Bennick. James Eyre and Jake Staveley have a chance to get in there as well. Look how much time James Ollier has gained on Jack Hayes-Roberts. He wants this win, and he is not going to back down. He just missed out on it last time, don't forget. He made the move and it didn't work. Yellow flags in front, so somebody has gone off the road. We need to try and figure out who it is. I wonder if it's already been removed from the scene, essentially. I think someone's parked out behind that marshal post, and that's why yellow flags were on that corner. But it looks as though it's going to be removed fairly quickly. I wonder if it's Callum Stevens, who has dropped all the way to the back of the grid. He was on the last row anyway, but he was ahead of Ryan Proctor. I'll try and keep an eye on that one. Again, just incredible drifting, four-wheel drifting through turn 1. It's like watching Juan Manuel Fangio and Sterling Moss, not Jack Hayes-Roberts and James Ollier. They're doing a terrific job of holding the drift through and actually making big gains as a result.
Yeah, around about 35 thousandths of a second between them. There's a battle further back.
Yeah, this is James Eyre having an attack on Zach Boker, I do believe, for 7th position. Actually, I think it's a bit further forward, actually, as we've got Adam Cerner and Jack Pearson. Then it's Lorna-Bennick and Boker. So that's actually tightening a lot more than I thought it was. 4th position, Cerner and Pearson are battling away for it, and the 6th position battle is reining them in. So they're actually tightening up. Again, Ollier has a think about Hayes Roberts. God, goodness me, on the brakes. That was 3 on the deck and 1 in the air from Jack Hayes Roberts as he leans in on the braking zone. This is all good ammunition for James Ollier. Here's that battle for 4th again. Cerner and Pearson. Then you've got Lorna Bennett, Boker, Eyre, Staveley trying to stay with them. And then Jacob Stott and Ryan Proctor hoping for a little bit of a snifferoo afterwards. Here we go again. Very close indeed between these two. Robbie Rathbone. That smart tactic from earlier on, looking after the tyres. He is reeling them in.
He looks like he's getting closer, and not surprisingly, he sets the fastest lap. He's a couple of tenths quicker than those in front of him at the moment. Slowly, catchy monkey.
It's driving smart, isn't it? Not driving hard. Robbie Rathbone looking after the tyres at the end of the first heat, and he's got a little bit more to play with now. So if anything happens between Jack and James, Rathbone is right there for the taking.
4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, all in the shot at the same time as they go through the Wilson Asses. One more time, Ollier looks for the lead. We had to think about it, but nothing more. Just window shopping, not actually buying anything at the sales.
Now it's come to the move. Surely this is it from Ollier. Makes the dive up the inside, and this time he overcorrects again. Oh, it's the same problem as last time.
The same problem when he went up the inside of the hairpin last time. He lost it on the switchback, and yet again, that's like the exact same move.
Well, Heat 2 is very much referred to Heat 1 at the moment. Oh, and a run wide. That is Max Lorna-Bennett, I do believe, running wide, or is it? It's a big issue in the middle of that particular deck of cards. That was certainly within the midst of the 6th place battle. It was Max Lorna-Bennett.
Yeah.
So he was the man who was in P6. That's given it over to Boker, Eyre and Staveley.
Great spot that, Jake, great spot.
That's the beauty of the drone.
Back with this battle for the lead, and Rathbone definitely getting quicker, Jake.
But can't make the move because the yellow flags are there, and that is obviously for Max Lorna-Bennett's car, which has had the problem. So he joins Callum Stevens on the sidelines. Look how tight 4th position is now. Cerner, Pearson, Boker, Eyre, Staveley. It really is anybody's into the last lap, and Ollier is still pressuring Hayes Roberts. He's certainly a lot closer than he was in the previous heat, and now we've got this 4th place dogfight. Here comes Ollier again. Surely this is the moment on the inside. Get that car turned back in. He's got the inside for the next corner. He might just have it.
That's great driving because he didn't run too wide on the exit. He stayed over to the right-hand side knowing that Jack Hayes Roberts was going to go for the switchback and couldn't get it done because of Ollier blocking his path.
Pitches it perfect, and this time James Ollier gets the steal. That's how you know it's different to Heat 1. James Ollier finishes the move and gets the win from Jack Hayes Roberts, who only just crossed the line ahead of Robbie Rathbone. What about 4th? It's to the line. Cerner just beats Jack Pearson home. My goodness, how close was that for both battles? Rathbone, 0.5 of a second behind Hayes Roberts over the line. Jack Pearson, Adam Cerner and James Eyre. Look at that, 4th, 5th, 6th. There's nothing in it at the flag. That's how brilliant racing can be in senior Rotax in the Grosvenor Cup at Hooton Park. Wow!
Just time to bring you quick highlights of the first heat in the Honda Cadet class. Here's Jake with the grid positions and the first half of the race commentary.
Robin Ashton and Sam Bout on the front row of the grid from Tom Nichols and Joe Cheatham. Evan Meller and Adam Batt on the third row of the grid. Tom Nichols down in 3rd on the grid. He's a bit of a surprise after the pace we've seen from him in the past. Let's see what he can do. Bouncing off the line to try and move our way further forward. And Nichols slots nice and tidily in behind the leading 2. So Robin Ashton and Sam Bout, and Nichols is going for it already. Wow, that didn't take long. Straight up the inside to get through into position. And that is a very neat start then for Tom Nichols, who has already broken clear and got into 2nd position past Sam Bout. 4th place for Joe Cheatham, obviously really starting to hunt down the leading trio, and a very aggressive start for Tom Nichols. How long is it going to take him to catch up to Robin Ashton?
Yeah, it was a surprise, as you say, Jake, to see him down in 3rd place there. Good battle going on there for 3rd place currently as they come towards us.
Oh, big switch from Bout. Look, he's really struggling for grip as he works his way through there. Wonder if his tyre pressures are a little bit out compared to some of his competitors. Look at Nichols already putting massive pressure on Robin Ashton. So Ashton's got to keep his wits about him here.
Big 4-wheel drift going on for Robin Ashton. That used to be the fastest way around the corner in a Formula 1 car in the 1970s, but not today. Held onto it though, as Nichols looks up the inside, but just window shopping at the moment as Vout runs wide 2 wheels on the grass.
Yeah, that was a bit of a moment for Sam Vout as he just loses the back end of the kart there, manages to catch it before a proper off, but that's enough for Joe Cheatham to get through into third, and Mellor's got through, so has Adam Batt actually. So I wonder if Sam Vough's got a problem developing. Meanwhile, these two still going at it. Robin Ashton trying to leave enough space to Tom Nichols whilst still protecting the lead. Runs wide. That's enough for Tom Nichols to get through. Takes over the lead of the race. Very easily done in the end, but there's nothing to say that he might not have something later on in the race.
That kart is sliding all over the place early on. That could be because he's running perhaps lower tyre pressures. It may come to him later in the race, but at the moment he's sliding everywhere.
Where's Vout gone? Sam Vout has gone, so I wonder if he's had an off somewhere. So Sam Vout, unfortunately, has gone off the road. There he is in the background. You could just about see him. He's had an incident at turn 1, so that's unfortunate. So Nichols now your leader in front of Robin Ashton. Cheatham and Mellor are having a nice little duel here for third position as Vout is now having to recover.
That wasn't the only time Sam Vout was off in this one. He went off again through turn 1, all his own work, and his last place would be consolidated as a consequence of all that. The early battle between Tom Nichols and Robin Ashton would become a one-man show after Nichols served a cease and desist notice on the driver, giving him early problems. The young man from Leyland in Lancashire is a veteran of this circuit, and for anyone to beat him here, they will need a dose of speed and fortune to turn this result in Heat 1 around. Ashton would be hoping to do just that in Heat 2 and the final, but Nichols was comfortable in this one by the end. Further back, there was a great tussle between Evan Mellor on the 117 kart and Adam Batt. By the flag, it was Tom Nichols all the way from the man in second place that gave him the early problems. That was Robin Ashton coming home in second. In third place, Cheatham held on to it after that spin in turn 1, and coming out on top in the battle for fourth place, it was Evan Mellor that just held on by a few hundredths of a second. The official result looks like this for Heat 1, but there's still another heat and the final to go. You can catch up with the results there in our next show. Part 2 from Hooton Park and the remaining races in the Grosvenor Cup coming soon. Don't miss that. We'll see you then.